Welcome to ATP Sports Golf Podcast, the only podcast where you can retire as a host one week and come back as a special guest the next. This week we have the big dog, the OG of this thing, the captain of the ship, San Diego's finest son. Logan, it's good to have you back.
Thanks for that. That's a great intro. I appreciate that. Very good. What's up, boys? Sorry for the voice. Little was under the weather this weekend, recovering, and apparently my voice decided it wanted to go down a little bit. So my wife likes it, so I guess that's a bonus.
I like it.
Yeah, you said you liked it too. You said it was sexy.
I like it. Yeah, I like it. Yeah.
It's that fine hot
good to
jazz,
see you,
everybody. Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming in.
You. Thank you. Good to be here. It's PGA Championship week. It is arguably, my championship week as being a PGA golf professional. So this week for me is pretty exciting, and I definitely want to pencil out some time so I can be here with you boys and talk about this event. So I'm excited.
Of course, that is a good one for you to come back for. Any major, really, but represent PGA like always. And then, I mean, I'm here just to battle with you this week, so let's just kill it. We'll see what happens.
Here we go.
Mm-hmm, yeah. Mm-hmm. You want a bit breaking news before we get started?
Yes.
Hot off the press that will probably affect your picks for the PGA. Will certainly affect my pick. Rory McIlroy and wife Erika set to divorce.
How did I see that coming, bro? Oh my god, that is the weirdest thing. I literally was just about to ask. I was like, Scotty's, they've been breaking bread over at their house, and they got their kid coming in, and you hear about Tiger and all his things, and everyone wants to get in drama. And I just felt something was coming because obviously the other Rory news that's going to break today. But if I was, all right, so I'm going to get like controversial, maybe hot take here, but like if I was LIV, I would be stomping on Rory right now. Like I would absolutely do everything I can to purchase that man for as cheap as I can. And then look, this is just me from their side. Know what better time than now after PGA snubbed him after he comes and wins the tournament, which is what he won Wells Fargo as his first tournament ever, I believe, too. And so, and he's just got history with his PGA. The last time he won Valhalla, he won. We'll get into it. All right. But anyway, I'm thinking controversy, hot take. I saw Rory in this coming, and wow. Yeah. Thanks, bro.
So just to quickly clarify that, right? According to celebrity gossip site TMZ, which is I think it's something over your side of the pond that's like breaks all the celebrity news.
Totally credible.
Totally credible, yeah. Filed the papers with the Ross County Courthouse in Florida. Neither him or his wife will comment on the matter, but he's got a press conference tomorrow. So surely somebody's got to ask him the question, eh? But he has looked a bit happier of recent times. And, like, I'm not saying that getting time away for your wife or potentially getting rid of your wife is going to make some people happier, but maybe he's now playing with a bit less stress because he's not getting hassled at home and he can maybe concentrate a bit more. I don't know.
Well, I mean, anytime you're going through it, I've been through it. It's rough, man. It's no fun. Definitely not an experience that you wish on really anybody. But it seems like, I mean, with his win last week, it seems like he's in the point where I want to say it's pretty much done, right? I mean, this is just the filing, and I've seen it on other. I just looked. There's some other news outlets that are more reliable that are posting that. So I feel like it's pretty well confirmed. But it's interesting, because I feel like that the anguish and all the angst that goes up leading to actually filing it seems like it's done. So this could be a good thing. This could be like a little bit of weight off the shoulders, a little less burden, and I agree, Erik. I don't know, man. I think that LIV goes at him hard right now because now, once the divorce is done, he doesn't have to split. Yeah, that's what he was holding off for. That's the thing right there. That's the intel. He was holding out. Wait till the divorce is final, and then give me that money. I want to get paid, player. That's what I'm thinking.
I think the same thing. I think now's the time. We just saw what's the PGA's boys that the other guy that just signed out. He did the Senate last year to LIV. Like it's just it's getting steamier and steamier week to week. And then, of course, we come into Valhalla PGA Championship. We're talking, a major tournament that's basically named after the tour. And you still are getting like 6 invites or 6 live players. You still have it's a stew for a nightmare for your PGA, or it could be, a blessing in disguise. I don't know where it goes from here, but
and if they get
crazy.
McIlroy, right? If LIV does actually secure that, and they get McIlroy, that's some serious discussions that have to happen between the two of them.
Yeah,
because I mean, you lost, and I mean, we saw in the last 12 months that Rory's completely flipped his talk track about LIV, right? I mean, he went from just it's terrible and bashing it to these guys can play. He's taking a softer stance on it. So, I think that I don't know, man. I think if they pick up McIlroy, that's a significant swing in the dynamics, and that changes that conversation significantly. And I think that the PGA Tour would be remiss if they didn't consider at least joining up.
Right. And here's my next question, and now his name's Jimmy Dunn, but I'm assuming that they wrote some sort of contract for him not to go spill the beans, because he was made the person to go over and make these deals with LIV, and he sat in front of the Senate, and he clearly had to go make face over in Saudi, and like he was the guy, or his team was kind of behind that. So not only does he know all the little details between their shenanigans last year around this time, but does that include him not going over there and doing something that would facilitate something for them? Because Jimmy Dunn is well known also to be like a Rory backer, or like a close with Rory, and that on top of the Rory news, on top of the divorce, on top of him winning, on top of him getting snubbed, it's just literally a full equation. Like there is no, I just don't.
So who is Jimmy Dunn in the golf world then? Is he more like a businessman that just puts the right people round the right table and can negotiate some deals?
He was put in place by Monahan to do the framework deal for last year for in
but
between living.
He's essentially just a businessman, though, is he? And he's part of that group that he's meant to go and do the kind of impartial negotiating, and we don't know.
Well, I do know that he stepped down. I do know, and in his letter, he thanked his people on his team. I did kind of feel like he called out Monahan or the situation, and it doesn't sound like he's happy, man. And it sounds like he had a lot of pull. He was just like on the board of directors type situation, I believe is what it was. Am I wrong, Logan? Is that kind
PGA advisory board?
Yeah, that's where you go. Bam, bam. Anyway, I do know, like he's go ahead.
No meaningful progress on the framework was what he kind of cited as he was disappearing out the door. So we'll just have to wait and see what happens with that one. But I agree with you, Logan. I think if they get Rory, which I don't think they will, right? I still think he will be loyal to the PGA, and I don't think he'll go. But if he does go, he is the needle mover now. They talk about that one, and obviously they got John Ram, but if they were able to acquire Rory. By the way, you are really smart. I'd have totally never thought about that. Like, he's waiting to sign this deal, but then he's going to have to give up a lot of it to the missus if they've been on a bit of a rocky road, and then he bins her off, and then he gets to keep the money. What a smart guy. Hell of a player as well, eh?
Hell of a player. So this is one of the things I love about McIlroy is he's a great ball striker, right? I mean, you watch him, hit driver, you watch him in irons. I mean, he thumps it out there and pound for pound, he's probably one of the longest. And I've said this before too, probably on this podcast, is that if he gets that putter rolling, if he gets that putter hot, he can't be beat. He's just such a solid player. But that putter has let him down so many times, and it was great to see him win last week. Like I said, I think I could be wrong. This is pure speculation, but I think that having that weight off of his shoulders, having a clear mindset. All of that stuff's now behind. He's got the future. He's got open road ahead of him, and it's wide open. Let's go. Let's throttle down and let's get it. And I think that's kind of his mindset right now. Again, 1,000% speculation. I don't know the man, but I think that's kind of what I saw in his play at least.
Yeah, he does look like he's playing with freedom as well, eh? And then that last round at Quail Hollow, as we said before, that's his 4th win there. So he knows how to get round that course. Finishes on 17 under with A2 eagles on the par 5s. And I suppose if you could just keep chipping in for the bunker, you don't need to use your putter. So why not take that flat stick out of the equation altogether? And then he goes and has a double on the last, just to let us all remember that he is human and that Rory does make mistakes, now and again.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. Obviously, he's released some pressure since I don't know, the Zurich. Went out there, had fun with Lowry. It seemed like he kind of saw a little bit out of him there, and then he comes out and dominates this tournament. And it's kind of weird that it happened in the same week that we saw Rose Zhang come out and just absolutely splash the LPGA, and then Rory does the exact same thing over here, and just absolutely. I mean, Schauffele was there. It's kind of like where he's been all year, right there, but
yeah, he's a serial loser now at this point.
He's looking a lot like, a Fleetwood situation. He's such a good top 5 loser that hopefully, I hope for his sake that goes away. But it's hard to watch from his perspective, I would say.
What's he doing?
I don't know.
This is how we go.
Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute, Logan. You're on mute.
Welcome back, buddy.
Jeez.
Here we go.
It's like a Zoom meeting gone bad.
Rookie.
You're on mute. Idiot. My mouth is moving and you guys can't hear it. Cool.
Yes.
What I was saying was, it reminds me of Furyk back in the day, right? Furyk was the king of top 5s. Just would I feel like he snuck out of 1 W, but not a lot. Finished a lot of seconds. A lot of seconds, a lot of thirds. I mean, you could put money on. In fact, I may or may not have him finishing second in the majors. I mean, it was just that was his move, and I agree. I think that hopefully Schauffele can kind of get past that and get over that hurdle. But I mean, he ran into a guy that shot 6 under on the last day. 17 for the tournament. That's tough to beat. It's really tough to beat.
It is pretty reminiscent of Furyk's issues too. Let's be real. Who was Furyk running into? He was running into the likes of Tiger Woods and I don't know at that time, but Phil Mickelson was kind of came up and won some majors near the end of his elongated career.
Yeah, when there was an interview out when Tiger was at his peak before, and he was winning everything. They interviewed Lee Westwood, and Lee Westwood said the same. And they're like, "Oh, you keep coming up short against Tiger," and he's like, "I'm making money every week." So he was just rattling off top 5s every week. He became a bit of a nearly man. The same with Colin Montgomery and all these type of guys. So there's still a good career to be made out of finishing second to somebody who's just unstoppable at that point. On money, I wanted to ask you, Logan, now since you're here this week, I had a problem a couple of weeks ago with Shane Lowry and Rory McIlroy teaming up to play in that competition, right? Okay. Because there's a lot of guys on there who are, we'll call them nobodies, right? For the sake of like on the world stage, nobody really, like a lot of them don't know them. And that was a good chance for them to go out and win a competition, win the points for the FedEx Cup, win themselves a decent chunk of change, and then 2 of the big names and probably one of the biggest in that field, well, the biggest in that field at that point, just decided, we're just going to team up and come and scoop that cash. Now, Erik was all about the money. They were all about the points. I just think it was a bit off that the 2 of them decided to just waltz into this tournament. You'd be a bit PO'd if you'd signed up with one of your other PGA pals, thinking you might have a shot at winning it, and then the week prior or a couple of weeks prior, you're like, "Oh, these 2 boys are playing."
I mean, it's points are important, right?
Yep.
Yeah, I'm not on mute again, am I?
No, you're good.
I mean, points are important. I mean, the guys don't need the money, right? I mean, it's just that's a.
They're entitled to play. They're obviously entitled to play. I just thought it was a bit off that, they just were like, oh, let's just go to this perceived smaller tournament that Rory doesn't normally play in. I mean, done Shane Lowry for getting. Yeah, exactly.
Right? So it's not like they lapped the field. So I mean, it's I don't know. It's a weird one, right?
All right. Okay.
Yeah. I think it's a good tournament, for them to get some outlook or get some advertising for themselves or whatever, play with the pros we saw some names in there that were like I've seen in PGA tournaments. And like if I was to look at the, my world ranking or whatever, or like if I was in a situation where I could go to one or the other and money was an issue or taking a higher place. I mean, but I doubt many of them had the option to go both ways too. So,
I think the other side of that too is that you have to get that feeling of winning, right? I mean, sure, it wasn't a stacked field like they're going into this week, right? We have the best players in the world, competing for the PGA, but chalking up that W, it feels good. It carries that momentum. Even a top five can help carry some momentum if you're playing well, right? And then obviously we have the Wells Fargo, which he just won. So I think that building up that confidence and getting that feeling of winning, helps. So I think from that aspect, it's got to be helpful mentally when preparing for major championships throughout the year.
I think that's like a perfect analogy. I mean, you have that same idea when you're trying to score low too. Like if you've never scored low and you're hitting from the tips, or you want to break a a mark that you haven't before, you scoot up, go hit some reds, score low for the first time, get your mind like set into that winning or that scoring low mindset, and then you could see it's an option, right? And it's just not so hard at the end. But I mean, also winning a tournament's substantially different from making 70 or 80, but yeah.
But that's why I like playing up a tee, right? I'll go play up a tee or two and shoot like 68 and go, oh yeah, I remember how to do this, and then move myself back.
I mean, there's always the Kevin Kistner guys, like he's never going to win Bethpage Black, but he'll take whatever it is for 20th place because they pay a lot, so it depends on what you want out of your career. I like his outlook though.
Yeah.
I mean, that was always my mindset, right? I never wanted to be number one in the world. I just wanted to make a living. That was my thought when I was out there trying to chase it. It was just let's go. Let's see if we can make some cuts and make some money. And I didn't. So here I am.
I know you get to talk to us.
Well, and there's personalities for it too. I mean, look at what it caused Tiger Woods in his life. I'm not saying it's all bad. I mean, I would have enjoyed some of the things he went through, but other things were not so great for him, or maybe the limelight was too much, or whatever. And we'll see what happens to others. And I don't know, maybe a personality like Scheffler's or Scotty's would be like maybe you take it more in the church side, but
so let's talk about that real quick, because I was thinking about this in preparation for today, right? Is that I really wanted to talk about Scotty and his game. I had the opportunity to play some golf over last weekend with some buddies of mine I haven't seen in a while, and they kind of made a really valid point, in my opinion, is that Scotty's kind of boring to watch. And yeah, I mean, he's number one player in the world, right? He wins, and he's favored, going into the PGA. But he's kind of boring, I mean, he doesn't have the flair. He doesn't have the dramatics. He doesn't have the helicopter finish to hit a 40-yard cut over water from 240 out of a bunker to 6 feet. He doesn't have that kind of flair and dramatics. And I got to thinking about it. I'm like, yeah, you're kind of right. I mean, really, the only thing he's got going for him is that happy feet move all over the place. And that's, if he didn't, I don't really know that we'd be talking that much about him, other than that he's a great player, he's a good ball striker. It's okay. Yeah, but I mean, he's kind of boring to watch.
He is. He's got nothing marketable about him, really. Like as you're saying, if you've got the one with the club twirl, or you've got somebody who like the fist bump in, or the getting all hyped up for the crowd, Scotty just kind of, oh well, I'll just go and hit this ball. Right, I'll now just stick this 3 feet for the pin, and I'll just sink the putt, and I'll just walk on. He He just does everything boring.
Is there anything better than the aggressive club twirl, knowing that Tiger just stuffed it to like a foot? That is probably I see those shots in my head of watching the television of Tiger hitting those, and that's something that sticks with you. I mean, growing up just with a passion of the game, maybe that's maybe also why. But that aggressive club twirl, like I said, the helicopter, high cut finish, that he pull off these miraculous shots. I mean, those things, stick with you. I can't think of a single shot that Scottie Scheffler's hit that I'm like, wow.
He's hit him, but it's just not with those ultimate like feelings. Like I just know for me, when I hit my shot once in a great while or however, but then like it's like when Tiger does it, it's like he's sheathing his third leg. You know what I mean? It's just like Zorro. He's putting away the shot. He crushed it, and he's mad confidence. And there's, I mean, that feeling like when I rarely club twirl, but when I lock in, I finish, and then I just get that nice little spin, and I'm like, yes, I did.
And, I think of some other players in the past too that had some good runs. Freddie's another one, but I mean, you look at Freddie's swing, and it's just like he's playing golf on a lawn chair. It's kind of cool, right? I mean, just so laid back and relaxed, and it's cool. But he had this swagger about him too, right? To me, Scottie doesn't have like any of that, and maybe I'm just being hypercritical. Because we've seen all these greats in the past that had some flair, had some finesse, had some just excitement, and he's a great player, no question. He beat me like a drum without even thinking about it. But it's not exciting. It's like playing golf. I got a buddy that's the same way. I play golf with him. We get done. I'm like, hey man, what'd you shoot today? I'm like, I'm expecting like 76. He's like, 65. I'm like,
yeah,
what? Really? Yeah, pretty sure. Make me focus.
You just don't feel it. Yeah. Well, I mean, again, Tiger Woods was in the way and made him least recognizable, but VJ was, like not a very non-exciting golfer. Just, he had power and a little bit of flair because of like the demographics of them two playing against each other, in my opinion. But we just weren't used to that. And I think Ernie was on the same boat. Ernie was pretty boring. And then other than Phil running his mouth, like he was exciting because his flop shots in the short game. And Tiger Woods had the club twirl, and Jim Furyk was fairly boring, but he had his awkward
swing, though. Yeah, I was gonna say his
swing was crazy. So that brought some like character. But then you had like David Duval, and the only thing that made him cool were his shades.
Sunglasses.
You know what I mean?
But he did get excited when he shot 59 at PGA West, right? Because remember he was all buttoned up and his khaki. He looked very beige, and he just he's had that big excitement, and he's had his Oakley sunglasses on.
We just need, we still need the Ricky Fowlers, the Orange Boys, the Justin Thomas, the young kids coming up. I mean, Ludwig is pretty cool, but like, he's kind of held, like, of what I've seen so far, he's pretty vampire, like just straight face. You know what I'm saying? That's not a burn on where he's from, kind of, but. Just what I see. He's nothing special. Like he is special, but like it's just very Scotty.
So I'm trying to think right now of all the guys that have some sort of flair or excitement, right? So I mean, like players like Terrell Hatton, right? LIV. Sergio Garcia. Remember Sergio like running up in the Masters and that like weird jump that he did?
And he, like hitting out of the tree and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have Phil Mickelson, right? Flop shots. I mean, he can hit some dirty shots. LIV. Mm-hmm. Bubba Watson, right? A 120-yard cut on number 10 at Augusta National from the trees.
Driver off the deck all day. Like we don't rarely see that. Like,
it maybe there's a pattern here that we're seeing, right? LIV is taking some of the entertainers, the guys that aren't afraid to have those hot mic moments, right? I mean, we've seen Terrell Hatton have, I don't know, I can't even count how many hot mic moments that guy's had.
I mean,
right?
Kepka and Brooks.
Brooksy he's
But
not as dramatic, but he does play with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder, which I appreciate.
Went with Bryson though when they were in their like cleats era, and they were in there like, are these two gonna fight if they play together, and like that kind of they took that, but then they it was left in the PGA.
Yeah, and that deep eye roll, I loved it. That was so good. Just it was so epic. And even Bryson, he's got that all the clubs are the same length, right? And he's got the kind of a weird move, and he's dramatic, and he tries to hit it 430 yards. I mean, it's just, if you look at all the guys that I would argue have the entertainment factor, they all got picked up by LIV.
Right.
I mean, can we think of somebody that's on PGA or even the European Tour right now that's got that flair and dramatics?
I mean, we got Father Time with Cantley and Xander's, like, he's his partner. He's just as kind of boring. He's like Eeyore. He's like, I'm not gonna win, but I'm here still.
That suits the LIV product though. So when like they want the music, they want the fast changing leaderboard, they want everybody out in the course at the same time. So they want the characters. So did the PGA try hard enough to keep any of them? And were they were quite happy to let them go because there'll be a life after these guys, and they're now seeing a bit of a rating stumble or whatever else because you've got the best player on the planet. There's nothing about him. He's not got anything about him. He just goes about his job. He wears a white polo shirt and grey trousers, or he wears a black polo shirt and black trousers. There's no pops of colour from him. He's just dull as dishwater is something we would say over this side of the water. He's dull as dishwater. He just goes through the motions. Yeah, he put you to sleep.
Oh, I love the expressions on that side of the pond, man. They always give me. I feel like every time I've been on this pod, man, it's just you've had something that just gets me. I love it.
I really, really do think you're onto something, Logan. I think we could literally lay out the next 5 people, or probably 3 of 5. I just was even thinking more through LIV. It's like they got Harold Varner. He's wearing the Jordans. They got Pat Perez. He's the Metro guy, like wearing the Jordans and the hair. And
a little bit of a bad boy,
I guess if Duffner was played a little better, he maybe Kistner's still edging it. Like maybe Joel Damon, if he was playing a little better, he might bring some people. Of course, they took Anthony Kim with every piece of drama that he brought.
Right. And Matty Wolf too.
Matty Wolf, like, destructive. I mean,
Taylor Gooch can't keep his mouth shut. We spoke about him last week. He's going to get put in his place this week, though. He will get put in his place this week. But yeah, you're right, Logan. They've taken all the characters and they've taken all the flair players to try and make their product a bit more exciting. However, they then still struggle to get a TV deal. So they've got all the people who are going to be hot mic'd and throwing clubs and having a bit of a party, but they still can't get a television deal.
And then let's be honest,
that's stepping in, right?
Of course,
that's stepping in and trying to blackball them, and that we saw that early on, and it's just you hear about them trying to get contracts, and then you hear the PGA Tour stepping in and saying, "Hey, we won't give you the contract if you sign with that." So I mean, it was just kind of this back and forth. I'm glad that they secured at least some sort of television, and I think it's going to continue to grow, right? I mean, it is. I've watched some of it. It is different. It is a little bit entertaining, but they have the characters. They have the guys that I enjoy watching play. I'm not a fan. I mean, I'll fall asleep on the couch watching Scotty play. I mean, it's just kind of the way it is, right? So I guess the question is, hot take, is the PGA Tour boring?
Yes.
Wow.
They are trying.
Wow.
They do try, but their number one issue is their number one player. Let's be honest. And what you do in order to take that away, there's just nothing you can do to hurt Scotty right now, because everything he does is within the regs. He's not going to go hurt himself outside in like personal issues, I don't believe. The only thing that's gonna hurt him is, I don't know, the devil himself. I don't know, brother. Like he's pretty square. He's pretty square.
I agree.
So,
I agree.
But it has been. It's been like that before, and I think we kind of spoke about it last year as well. Like the actual, I don't know how you make watching golf on telly a sexy product. to draw people in to watch it, right? They can show some of the best shots, but then us amateur guys are like, oh, it was quite impressive that he's done that. I'll never be able to do a shot of that. So there's nothing that you can kind of, I don't think you can kind of aspire to other than just watching the best of the best do what they do best.
I would argue that they had Faraday.
Mm-hmm.
And Faraday added a little bit of that spice. He added a little bit of that flair, right? I mean, he's always hit it in the furniture. I love when he says that, right? It's just it's a Faraday thing. And I think that LIV picking up Faraday was really right. Yeah. So I mean, it's they had some characters. I mean, Azinger, he's going to say some dumb things, and I'm glad Johnny Miller's gone. Nance is great, right, for the Masters. I love listening to him. I mean, that's just a tradition, right? So I get that. Yeah. But you need to have somebody that. What's
Trevor Immelman. Oh, Brandel.
No, Brandel. God,
we don't talk about him on this podcast, Logan. He's banned for this podcast, eh?
Oh, good.
Here's the thing is you guys have tapped into exactly what they need. Is there's going to have to be a change in face on broadcasting. That boringness on top of the boringness on top of the boringness is where they're struggling, as we said. And you can't just have people like, I mean, we can't have the waste management like it was this year and people getting kicked out and that kind of thing. But there still has to be like a voice, a joke, like a little bit, like a new age something flair that has to be added to the mix. And it's just as hard with the level that PGA has set for themselves. And then we have
they are trying.
They LIV set their bar so low that like they can just kind of like just keep chalking up until they hit that sweet spot. And they're taking that young generation. PGA's like average age viewing number has jumped up from like 55 to 65 or something. I saw, don't quote me on that, but I saw the number on like the viewer and it's jumped up in age. And then you have Adelaide, and what's more exciting than watching a whole flock of people running in behind some people, booing Oosthuizen for going over, and then cheering hometown favorite Mark Leishman hitting the same shot but hitting it on the green. And I'm with that all day. I want to see that, and in fact, I want to be there. You know what I'm saying? And that makes it exciting. And the waste management is really the only thing where I could see like someone in my age group who just beyond is the hobbyist golfer who was like, I want to go somewhere. Like, they want to go to the Masters, but it's really, I don't even know the number, dude. I just imagine it's ill affordable for me at this stage. You know what I mean? But
Augusta?
Yeah, I just don't see a possible way.
No, it's not. It's the tickets aren't expensive. It's a lottery though. It's getting on the list and waiting and going. There's people I've heard that have been 20, 30 years before they finally got a ticket, right? I mean, so right. I mean, it's that's what makes it tough to get in. It's not the money thing. It's just you gotta wait unless you go to like some of the super high end stuff, which are expensive.
So and that's my thought. And when I see like the waste management, I see myself being there, and I see that option. But then I look at LIV, and I just know that it's getting close and it's picking up, but I could probably also pick up a pretty sweet ticket for a pretty sweet cost. I'm not going to go to Adelaide for cheap, but you know what I mean? There's got to be somewhere where it'll start to pick up. And I don't know, man.
Yeah, obviously the PGA definitely need to try and do something to make the product a bit more exciting, right? So I know they've had Trevor Immelman on for one of the networks over there, and he seems a pretty decent enough guy, and he knows what he's talking about as like the color commentator. And then is it NBC and CBS or whatever ones of the two? I don't understand how your stations work over there. We only have Sky Sports over here, but right. So whatever one of your stations is carrying that, and then the other one went and got Kevin Kisner when he 9 times out of 10 doesn't make the cut. He then jumps on and becomes the color commentator for them, right? Now Kisner's good, but he's not a full-time analyst because he's still playing, right? So he's not going to say anything controversial, well, not that they need to say anything controversial, but to try and be a bit OTT or have his own personality in it to turned up, because he might potentially want that gig, so that when he continues to miss cuts, decides to chuck it in, and he goes to do an analyst full time, he's not going to do anything to hurt that, to hurt getting that job. So yeah, he still has to stay within the realms of the buttoned up shirt and be a bit more professional. Now, I don't know the guy. I just hear his name a lot. But this Colt Nost or something.
Colt
Nost.
Also,
I think he was some retired player that does some of the analysts, and I quite like him because he seems to have a bit of back and forth and a bit kind of banter with whoever it is he's working with. But I think he's maybe one of the younger generation instead of the kind of stuffy old guys. So I think they are trying to make the product a bit more entertaining, but it is difficult. And I have said it before, watching for us being a golf podcast, watching golf is boring, right? Unless you're there, and it is. It's more fun to play and talk about it and listen to podcasts about it, like and subscribe, than sitting watching PGA coverage. And when you see the numbers as well for some of them, I mean, they can have some decent events, and sometimes some of the holes look like they're empty, or there's only maybe a handful of folk around some of the holes. I don't know. I don't know how they change the game, make the product more exciting, other than shotgun start, have everybody in a team, call it LIV.
Well, so here's an interesting thought: is with golf, it's so hard because the knowledge base is so separated too. So like, what are we listening to, or like, who are we taking our advice from? Because it's like, oh, you could bring on just a cool analyst or a broadcaster that would create attention or a buzz, but then some people would be like, that dude has no idea what he's talking about, and others would be like, well, he's got good questions or creates good conversation. But like the better of the golfers who most likely watch PGA, or the more knowledgeable rules people and stuff probably watch PGA. And like if you brought in like, I don't know, someone dumb, like they would be like, oh, absolutely throw that person in with Camley, you know what I mean? Like, just, we don't want them.
Why don't they go out, right? The PGA as an experiment. They've already started these experiments of trying to bring in some YouTubers and playing them in PGA events, right? But why not go out and why not go out and get Paige and get
I'll watch every week, baby. Every week.
100%. Sign us all up, right? Then get Grant Horvat, get the boys from the foreplay thing, get like all these type good guys, the ones that are crossing a generation, right? And trying to catch the younger ones and bringing them into the game. And why not let them go and talk about it? Because, well, like Grant Horvat and all that are pros and teaching pros. They know what they're talking about. They know they can discuss the types of shots that are required off of the types of lives and what the people are doing. So why not try to go and get some of these younger folk and put them on the broadcast and see if that drums up the numbers and get some new support. See, who needs to be a businessman to sit around the table and sort these things? I've done it, sitting in my wee room in my house. This is what is going to drive the game forward, right? And it's going to make it live longer, because at some point people are just going to continue to turn off. And if LIV are offering a decent product with the best golfers in the world at that point and a bit more laid back and more fun, viewers are going to go and watch that. I guarantee that YouTube golf is watched more than what PGA golf are. I bet numbers for videos that are released by Good and all of these guys, I bet they do bigger numbers in viewing figures than PGA events do.
Yeah, I don't know.
Interesting.
I'll check that.
I like it. I like it. I do. I like the idea, and I think finding somebody that knows the game good enough and can make comments like Faraday. I mean, Faraday knows the game in and out. He played, right? So I mean, and his humor, I think, is what really made it, right? And that's something that you need. You need to find one of these guys, and I agree with you. Maybe it's one of these YouTubers. Hell, maybe it's one of us, right? I mean, who knows? That they can go out there, speak eloquently to the game, and then drop some humor in on top of it. And it's just, I think that's what they need. They need something that's fun and entertaining, right? I mean,
so they need to give us the broadcast, right? Give us,
absolutely.
PJ,
100%.
If you're listening to this, right, pick an event in a couple of months' time, right? One that's in the middle of nowhere, some wee event that you're running, not a $20 million purse, and give it to us, right? We will come on and do the talk. Logan knows what he's talking about. Erik knows what he's talking about. I'm a comedy genius. All these. Yep. I'll do the number. I'll do the comedy numbers, right?
I mean, the fact that Faraday got banned from Augusta National because he said the greens were slicker than a bikini wax. I mean, that's what the tour need right now.
Yeah,
they need a guy that's going to make those comments that it's not offensive, right? He's not saying anything that's necessarily derogative. He's not saying nothing profane, nothing like that. But it's funny.
Yeah,
I mean, if you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, all right, I get it. I have that analogy in my head.
It's relatable. It's relatable.
Yeah, absolutely. And Augusta said,
"No, you're not coming back." You're not allowed that. One that will do big numbers is the PGA Championship, which is what's coming up this week.
Let the weather holds.
The Professionals Championship, Logan's Championship. So this is the optimum time for you to come back and discuss this competition with us. I see Blockie's in it again. He's been all over the press again. He was doing stuff in the UK here, and he's been all over the telly that he's going to replicate what he did last year. We'll see.
Yeah. Oh, he's playing well. I mean, he's won everything in Southern California as usual, right? So it's kind of standard for him. And you know, I'm a big fan. I mean, I know the man. So he's a great dude, good family man, and good, phenomenal player. So I'm obviously rooting for him. You know, I hope he does make the cut. I hope he does. You know, put up a nice little showing out there. It's a fun experience, right? It's one of those things I've only tried to qualify like 2 or 3 times for this thing. And my game right now is not good enough to even think about it. But maybe one of these days I'll try to qualify. I got time. Maybe I'll work on my game for the next, I don't know how many years, do the math, and then try to qualify for the senior PGA. That might be my goal. But it's a cool event. You know, there's you know, fellow PGA golf professionals that are out there as volunteers helping not only announce on the tee, but you know, just kind of helping with everything else that's you know, goes on with the event. So we have you know, a handful of guys, 21 I think, PGA professionals representing you know, the PGA professional side of the business, along with the tour players that are out there as well. So I think it's gonna be a great event. I mean, obviously, Scotty's favored, you know, but I think that, you know, having some of the guys, specifically Brooksy, coming over from LIV, might shake it up. You know, I like it, and obviously Rory's coming off a heater, so I mean, it's tough to win back-to-back weeks, but like I said, I mean, with the announcement of the divorce, we got that out of there. It's just the weight off the shoulder. I like McIlroy. I do.
Could be difficult. Could be difficult not to go with him.
Could be fun. Could be fun to watch.
So obviously, Scotty had we were on baby watch for the Masters, and then on behalf of the podcast, congratulations, Scotty and Meredith, on their birth of their son, which I'm sure a lot of the other guys were like, "Oh no, if she could only just held on for another couple of weeks, maybe we'd be playing, or if the baby had came today or tomorrow." But he's there. He's outright favourite in the betting in the UK. I think he's like 4-1 or something to win it. McIlroy's the next one at 8s or 9s, so he's like quite a bit ahead. He just looked so relaxed. I was watching an interview with him earlier on where he'd been out and played 9 holes. He just looks like typical boring, relaxed Scottish Scheffler. So he's going to be dangerous. But yeah, I agree with you. Rory McIlroy, he's won here before. He won this was his PGA event. He won here, wasn't it? 2014. And the run up to that, Erik touched on it earlier on. And the run up to that, the last time he won 2 weeks prior. So if you're looking at omens, there's another good one. Yeah, he's now, as you said, playing with a bit of freedom. He's not having to worry about policy board stuff. He's not having to worry about paying his wife a big divorce payout when he moves to LIV. So, yep, he's potentially going to be one of the favourites. I did read somewhere though that this course was described as suited for bombers who can putt well. So it's a long, hard course, a lot of drivers off the tees, a lot of long irons for your second shots, and if you can get the putter working, then you should be in with a shout. So you can't look past Brooks Koepka again, potentially going back to back. Bryson, I would say, was probably sitting in that bracket as well. bombs the ball a mile off the tee. He can putt. Rory's only issue might be the putting, but he's coming off 2 wins, so he should be hyped up by that one. What do you think, Erik?
Yeah, I mean, I'll start with Michael Block. I have seen him a bunch on social media. I'm assuming he's just playing golf a lot and less teaching at this stage in his life. So good on him. I mean, he came out and had, I think, the round of his life or the tournament of his life, really. And he clearly has good tournaments outside of this in Southern California, as Logan has stated prior in today, but he's a good player. I just don't see him coming out with the star-studded power that's in this tournament, doing a whole lot. I mean, like you said, this is a bomber and putters course, and Block is kind of just his game's a little bit shorter, and obviously he can putt and hit some hole-in-ones, but to come out and say he's going to bomb it, yeah. Play well, have fun.
I just think there'd be a bit too much pressure again.
Yeah,
certainly it looks like it from this side of the pond here. That was what the stories were about. So it was about all Blocks going back again to try out, and I would just think it's added pressure on him. I mean, he had these kind of, is it like a purple patch you would say last year, and he couldn't put a foot wrong, and he then got himself some invites afterwards. And then, as I said, he's kind of popped up on everything now and again. It seems to be more social media stuff, but he's obviously playing back at home, Logan, and playing in the local kind of tournament. So he's going to be there or thereabouts kind of game-wise, but does this pressure now get too much for him as he's going into, he's coming back into this one, because there'll be a lot of eyeballs on him that there wasn't last year. So he came in kind of under the radar, no pressure last year, but now he's one of the big names for it, not to win it, but you know what I mean, in the field.
Yeah, but I also think that getting to play with McIlroy, was that Sunday last year? Yeah, or was it Saturday? I don't remember which day it was, but he got to play with McIlroy. I think that also kind of helps, right? Because you got a lot of eyes on you when that happens. He played pretty well, right? So I mean, I think it's obviously got an ace that day, famously. Just didn't see it go in, but that was pretty exciting. So I don't know. It's tough. It's going to be interesting to see. I am probably maybe a little bit more biased because he is a hometown boy, and I want to see him do well. But it is a major. But he did well last year, so it's like I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic that he's going to have a good tournament, and he's going to play well, and he's going to maybe rattle off a cut. Maybe he makes a cut, and I think that would be. I think that's a good expectation to have. Is just play solid, make a cut, and he isn't the longest guy out there, but I agree. But he can put it out there pretty far.
I think it'd be cool. I think he's gonna probably place around where Tiger Woods is gonna place at in this tournament. Maybe you get like the last day showing. He got Rory last year, and now maybe he comes out and gets Tiger Woods for his final day or something. I think that'd be pretty cool story for Michael Block, and I think that'd just be fun. I think it'd be a big deal, and he does have some influence, and he is one of the last most exciting things we've seen on the PGA Tour. So. I think that'd be no offense. No,
no, you're bang on though. You're bang on though because right. So Scheffler comes out this week and he wins. Or Scheffler won again, right? McIlroy comes out and he wins. Or he's done the career Grand Slam.
Right.
Somebody like Blocky, I'm calling him Blocky now because me and him are boys, right? But somebody like Michael Block wins. Then that is a story, and that's what the PGA Tour needs. Here's a guy that's been a teaching pro, and he came last year, and he was there or thereabouts last year, and he played the final round with McIlroy, and he had a hole-in-one, and he's came back this year, and nobody thought he was going to win it, and he's gone and won it. That is a needle-moving story. And then LIV come in and say, Michael, how do you fancy being captain of a team? Here's $500 million over you come.
Yeah, well, he's that's a lot. That's not where I was going with that, but that is that is Tin Cup in wrapped up into a better story, and the whole doctor lady don't even have to be there on this one.
Quick correction. McIlroy needs a green jacket to complete.
Yeah.
So he does. It's Jordan Spieth I was thinking of.
There you go.
Spieth's the one that needs this one.
Oh, well.
All right, who do we like to win this thing? I got to get going here in a little bit, there, boys. But I want to hear what your thoughts are and who's gonna host the Wanamaker Trophy here at the end of the week on Sunday.
Well, I'm just gonna say it's not gonna be PGA. I don't even want to see any of them boys win. I just like drama. I want to bring the heat. I want to see Joaquin Niemann is probably my overall random dark horse win. And then Aussies have clearly taken a liking to us. So Aussie, and I'll take Cam Smith too. So there you go.
Ooh.
Bam, bam.
Ooh.
Oh, watch out, Minwoo Lee too. He's the long hitter and can putt too, so he could fare well on the Valhalla.
Yep, I was going for Smith. He's the one I had on my list. I had all these. This one might do something. This one might do something. And Cam Smith was going to be my one that I was going to say, and you guys were going to go, "Oh my God, Craig! What a revelation!" No, I think I've watched a bit of LIV the last couple of tournaments I've had, and yeah, the Aussie team have been burning it up, and a lot of it's down to Cam Smith. His short game's on fire, and he's back to putting again. So, and he does drive the ball a decent amount, and he's relatively straight off the tee. So, Smith, I think, is potentially going to be my outsider. I probably will take a bit of Rory, but I think Brooks again might be the one. I think. Oof. What do you think, Logan?
I like Brooksy. I really do. I did watch a little bit of the LIV 2 weeks ago, I believe, and he's playing.
Shanghai?
He's playing really, in Shanghai. He's playing really well, and I like his game. I mean, this is what he preps for. This is what his whole drive and motivation is for. Very similar to someone else we know that his only goal and focus in life is majors. So I think that Brooksy he's got his head on correct. He's got the game. He's got the length. If that putter stays hot, he's going to be tough to beat. And that's a big question. Is that putter's got to stay hot? I love Cam. I think that's a great pick too. And I like Hovland. That's going to be kind of my just kind of let's mix it up a little bit for you guys off. I like a little Victor in there. He's got some length. He definitely has the game to get it done. So I like those three. But I think at the end of the day, I think we're going to see back to back from old Brooksy. He's going to hold that trophy up, and just kind of. I feel like he's playing with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder too, right? The whole rivalry thing, and just to be able to get in there and polish another major championship off. That's just I like Brooksy.
Yep. No, I think we're all in agreement with that one. He'll definitely be there or thereabouts.
I just need a public service announcement before we drop off. Air fryer Uncrustables. It's amazing.
Dude, what?
Air fryer Uncrustables. Have you ever had Uncrustable, bro? Peanut butter and jelly?
Oh yeah. Put it in the air fryer?
Bro, you're welcome.
Huh.
What's an Uncrustable? Like a pop?
It's like a sandwich. They cut the crust off, and it's like PB&J. They're tasty. They're good little snacks, but I like where your head's at there.
Yeah.
Right,
Tune in, subscribe.
Tune in and subscribe, and he'll give you more recipes next week. So,
oh, my best
Logan's going to hand out golf advice next week, and Eric's going to.
Best serving advice comes after 4 p.m., dude. No big deal.
So, Logan, it was good to have you back on again. We'll see how it goes with the PGA, and hopefully we get you back next week. I think you've got a bit of time. I'll give you a week to digest the fact I bought a chipper. I don't know if you were aware of that. It was funny because we did a wee public service announcement last week, and Erik thought I'd waited until you were not going to be in regular contact before I went out and bought a chipper, because he thought I was going to be scared to tell you that I was going to be playing one of them. So we can pick that up again next week. I've bought myself a chipper. I've taken my 5-wood shaft and put it on my driver to see if that makes it like a cheaper version of this mini driver. My putting still needs a wee bit of work. And that's me. We'll pick it up again next week, and you can share your thoughts. Always good to speak to you guys.
Good seeing you, boys.
Yep.
Perfect. Right. Cheers, guys.
Mark complete. Later.
See ya.